Holy Cross men's basketball, our subject and topic here today on Regional Radio Sports Television. Paul Condry along with JP Jobert. Visiting with us now is Mike McBride, the head basketball coach here at Holy Cross at Notre Dame, Indiana. Mike, you're in this in this phase right now of your career where you've had a chance to recruit all of your players. This is your program, 5 years into this thing. So, you look at the big picture when you took this thing over and fast forward to the 5 years. Where are you at? Are you happy with the development and what you've done here? Because you've done some really special things when it's all said and done, especially from where this thing started. I was here in the beginning.
Happy, yes, I'd say to a degree. I don't know that we've achieved at the highest level that we want to, but I think we've definitely worked in that direction. Consistency has been a little bit of a problem the last couple of years. That we've had some really high peak moments, but we have not been able to sustain those. And that's been the challenge that we've put in front of this year's group, who I think is very much ready to do that. But as far as where we are, the quality wins we've had, the number of wins we've had, how we've developed the program off the floor in terms of establishing a name, establishing a reputation, a culture within the program, an identity around the community with the program. I'm very happy with where we're at, and I'm really excited this year to hopefully take that to another level.
On game day, the Saints, when they go out to warm up, they wear a number 6 on the back of their warm up and their shooting jerseys. Tell us about the story.
That, as I'm sure you're probably aware, the number 6 is a military term for "I've got your back." So we wear it as a symbolic show of that we have each other's backs, that one of our core values is unity, and you're not unified just because you share a name on a roster, you share the same jersey. You've really got to be invested in each other. You're dependent upon each other, and I don't know of any organization in the world where that's more true than the military. So if we can steal something from them and hopefully implement it into what we do, it's a very good thing.
Social commentary, if the rest of America would steal a lot of that, there'd be a lot of better things going on. But having said that, let's take a look at the fundamental and foundational principles of Holy Cross men's basketball. John Wooden talks about his pyramid of success. There's a lot, the truth to that. And once again, if everybody were to institute those kind of things in college basketball, things would be a lot different. So let's just talk about your fundamental principles and mindset in building the program and continuing to build it brick by brick.
Okay, we have, from the very first day I was here, had 4 kind of pillars or core values that I referenced. They're unity, intensity, be every, and execution. And we try to identify with those. We define them very explicitly to our players. Unity, as we kind of mentioned, it's more than just sharing a roster spot. It's being a teammate. It's being dependent upon each other for your success. Being able to look a teammate in the eye and know you didn't let them down, that you gave them the very best every single day. Intensity. We want to kind of always be on edge, physically, mentally, and emotionally. You can play really hard physically and be disengaged mentally. That's not intensity. You can be focused and play really hard, but you're not into it emotionally. You're not connected. That's not intensity. So we think intensity is the where those 3 areas come together: the mental, the emotional, the physical, all at a very high level. Be every is just simply every single day in every single activity we're trying to go 1-0, whether that's a classroom test, project, paper, walkthrough, practice, obviously a game. We want to give our best in every one of those scenarios, and then execution. Let's carry it out. Let's accomplish something. It's great to have 3 or 4 really good days of practice, but if you go out on game night and you don't execute, you haven't accomplished anything. So we want to prepare at a high level every day, but the execution component of carrying it onto the floor is very important.
When you talk to basketball coaches, as long as I have, 30 years, you kind of get an idea where their fundamental principles originate from. And you look back on it, and you're of the generation growing up in Indiana that Bob Knight was at the centerpiece of Indiana college basketball, even at Indiana high school basketball, because his influence had trickled down. So take us back to the beginning, the people who influenced Mike McBride the most, and where are your fundamental principles based from?
Well, Coach Knight is a root at the root of a lot of them. I grew up when he was kind of at his heyday in Indiana. A lot of how we play, a lot of the values of our program are rooted back to him. We try, he's kind of a lightning figure amongst basketball fans, but I have great respect for him, and every dealing I had with him, he was very good, very generous. But there are even coaches that I obviously never played for Coach Knight. I've been around him on a number of occasions, but the guy I played for in college, John Grimes, was very influential. Maybe the best coach I ever had was my junior high coach, because he was just so detailed and took it so serious. And we're thinking, hey, this is junior high Catholic basketball. This guy's a president of a bank, and he's coaching us like his paycheck depends on that, not on his job at the bank. So, like, his detail, his serious-minded approach were very influential on me as a coach. There are some other guys I've studied, Don Meyer, Rick Majerus, and I think you're constantly evolving and studying as a coach. I'm going over this afternoon to watch Notre Dame practice, and I'm sure I'll pick up one or two things from what Coach Bray and his staff do. So, you're always learning, always growing, but the guys I mentioned, Coach Knight, Coach Grimes, John Menta, my 8th grade coach, were very, very significant for me.
All right, let's turn our attention to the 2017-2018 Holy Cross College basketball team. You have one of the most unique personalities in all of college basketball here today. I love his heart and soul in Jameer Washington, a big kid who grew up right here in the St. Joseph County area, went to Riley High School. So he's a great place to start. One of the hardest working guys in all of college basketball. I mentioned it on one of our telecasts the other day that he's just a joy to be around and a joy to watch. So let's start with him and tell us what you think about this group of Saints.
I like our entire group. I think from top to bottom they're very talented, and more important, they're very high character. Jameer kind of leads the way in both those categories. He's just an outstanding young man, a very boisterous, loud young man, but not in a hey, look at me manner. Anybody can be loud and try to point the camera at them or get a bunch of eyes on them or try to be a walking selfie or whatever the term is nowadays. Jameer's just loud, fun to be around, very engaging, but a great young man. He's very involved with it. He plays the organ or the keyboard, or I don't even know what it's called, the 3 or 4 different services every Sunday. So he's very engaged with the team, with the college, with his church, with the community. Just an outstanding young man that hopefully we can have those type of kids in our program for as long as I'm here.
All right, take a look at the landscape of the roster and who's expected to make big plays for the Saints this season.
Well, we've got a number of guys. One of Jameer's fellow seniors, Trevon Brackett, has really developed. He had some, kind of like our entire team, had some really good moments last year, but wasn't as consistent as he needed to be. I think he's ready to take that step forward and be a night in, night out type of performer for us. We've got 2 juniors, Nate Miller and Bryce Crozen, that have been around a long time. It seems like they're now 3rd-year guys. They really understand the expectations of the program. They understand how we play. They've produced at a high level, and they're ready to do it consistently. Going back to the seniors, we got Brandon Lawler, a kid that can really score it, has improved exponentially on the defensive side of the ball. Jack Benniger, Dominic Gatling give us some post depth. So our veterans, I think, are really kind of the foundation of what we're doing. And then we have some younger guys. Robbie Jimenez is a sophomore that had moments as a freshman, but again is trying to become more consistent. We have a couple freshmen, Jordan Gaines and Storm Cook, that have produced for us early. And then a couple other guys, Jason Dockery and Sutter Foster, that are freshmen but will over time play key roles for us.
All right, final question as we wrap this up here. You look at the landscape of your conference, the Chicagoland Collegiate Athletic Conference, it's absolute meat grinder. All types of different styles of play, too. So it's not like that you can prepare for one and it's the same as everybody else. All types of situations. So let's talk about the CCAC and give us your thoughts on the league as a whole.
It's a 14-team league, and I was just talking to one of the other coaches over the weekend. It's amazing that there can be 14 teams and there's not an off night. There's not kind of a team that's having a down year. It's kind of like the old Big East when Notre Dame was in that. I mean, every single team can compete at a high level, and most have proven that they do that on a national level. We've got a couple nationally ranked teams. We've got some other teams that are just outside the top 25 that are normally in it. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see 5 or 6 different CCAC teams be ranked nationally this year. Obviously, we'll have good representation at the national tournament. Our challenge is to be one of those teams, to grow into that. We've put ourselves on the brink of it. 3 of the 4 years I've been here, being in the conference tournament and being able to some years advance. We just haven't, as I referenced earlier, we just have not been consistent enough. And we need to be able to maximize our high moments, not follow up a really good moment with a lethargic one. And if we can do that, we'll be one of those really good teams that can represent our league nationally.
Don't forget, you can watch Holy Cross men's basketball all season long on Regional Radio Sports Television at www.rrsn.com. For Coach Mike McBride, I'm Paul Condry, along with JP Jobert. Thanks for joining us here today on RRSN TV.